Nice.
So here's the quick short of it. This give you the skinny.
Hmm.
When you're building on simple infrastructure like Vercel,
Hmm.
it always still requires some kind of back end. And I was getting kind of frustrated. I had a bunch of clients that they did not have a solution for blogs when I moved them into Vercel. And
So I've
then,
used I've used Vercel when I think if you code on Bolt, Bolt.new, I think it
yeah,
automatically has you host on Vercel, right? So to
it
me, it
does.
seems like just a web page hosting service. But yeah, tell us more about it, just in case people don't know.
Yeah, so think of Vercel as like a headless version of hosting Wix or Framer.
Hmm.
So Wix
Okay.
and Framer give you a UI where you can drag and drop and GUI things into place.
Hmm.
Vercel basically gives you everything they're giving you except for the UI to drag and drop things into place.
Okay.
And a little bit more robust like reporting too. So if we're
Okay.
looking at, let's look at, okay, pull up blocks for Vercel right here.
And
So
so you're telling me a
you
lot of people have their blogs on Vercel and they're using something else to create the look of it, huh?
So they bring their web page to Vercel, then you get
Mhm.
stuck figuring out how to put the blog in. Do
Yeah.
you want this ginormous CMS platform where there's a ton of features and all you really need is blog posts? Do you want to go with a really generic database so you get something like Supabase? But then if you build with Supabase, what about your front end? Now you have to dream up the front end of how to actually interact with your blog posts. There's a lot
Mhm.
of decisions that have to be made depending on what your website is going to have inside of it. And I'm sure that there's more that I haven't even explored yet and knowledge that I'm still gaining as I go along, where maybe Vercel has additional features that I haven't even leveraged into. But one of the biggest annoyances we had helping a lot of our clients pull together brand new web pages that interact with their backends even better and help
Mhm.
clients see, create more transparency between them and their clients and allow more ease of information moving back and forth with their client data and their personal data or their company data. We moved
Mhm.
their websites to Vercel and it's worked great, but then we lost a lot of the blogging that generates a lot of your SEO.
Yeah.
So we, I kind of scrapped this together mostly because I needed something. And I wanted to make the sign up really easy, and then I wanted to make it really easy for the clients themselves to come into these posts and then work on them. So if
Mhm.
I head over to Second Sun, I can see different posts that I made for my Second Son publishing blog. And then these are all just markdown files that are rendered on the right-hand side, or you can switch over to rich text and then edit these by clicking on and off these different editor buttons. You want to
Okay.
underline it or,
Super familiar. Looks easy to use.
yep. So that's kind of the gist of what we kind of threw together for this. And then the
Hmm.
more important thing to me than even this UI
Hmm.
is people probably won't want to edit stuff here, which I get. I think most people will want to edit stuff with the AI directly. So
Okay.
the very first thing that I built, even before the post editor, was the ability to just interact with the backend directly using an API key. So you can create posts, publish posts, or draft them and not publish them all through the API. And then you don't have to be trying to come in here and do using the user interface like a GUI to build
So
your
what
posts.
interface would they use? Would they be how would they how do they send if they're using the API, like what did they use to interact with the API?
Yeah, you can use a lot of different things, but you could use cursor as one of them.
Okay.
If you hand cursor the API and you hand it the documentation starter pack that we
Hmm.
created for the AI as well. So we one of the things that's been a really big uh, helped us accelerate really fast is if the AI has enough documentation, then it knows what to do. It just goes and does it. And instead of banging its head against a wall trying to figure something out, it provides a certain amount of contextual awareness for it. So we created a SDK where they can just install it over NPM, and then they can just go grab the kit and it installs it right into whatever they're currently doing. And then whenever the AI is interacting, all it needs now is the API key and then this little knowledge base, and it knows what the heck's going on. Similarly, you can download the API documentation, which gives you a file that you can drag and drop uh, into the AI so the AI can read through that and understand how it's supposed to function and interact with these. Oh, of course, that's going to launch Xcode. It's going to be a huge drag on my system. Let me close some of this out, actually. But
Okay, cool.
these pages, while they're not very useful for us to look at, they're incredibly useful for AI. It's it's weird how useful a simple piece of documentation is for AI so that it knows how to interact with the API and with the system that it's talking with.
Yeah,
So,
it's just so great to finally be at a point where you can upload any supporting documents you want, and AI has the context window to understand it all.
yes, yeah, totally. So that's a Swagger file that they get. There's a starter pack where if you want just more simple, we've been experimenting with both of these. What does AI work best with? Does it work best with like a spec file where it's just shown how the APIs work, or does it work best with a README that has some quick start and some documentation
Mhm,
and then examples in it, right?
mhm.
I think there's different things that we've been putting into this to try and tinker with it ourselves. So those are kind of the three main ways that right now, though, that if you don't have a full-on MCP, you at least have these simple documents available that help the AI jumpstart right into
Okay,
it.
help me out. What's an NCP?
Model Context Protocol. MCPs allow the AI to communicate directly with something.
Okay.
They're mostly used in the context of databases. So we come over to Supabase here, and this is the blogs for Vercel. If I say I want to connect to this database, I
Hmm.
have MCP options, and cursor is like just smack right in the middle of this. Claude Code is the second most popular VS Code, and loads of others that are getting popular right now. But once that's
Okay, great.
installed, you can talk directly with the database, just one to one. So
Okay. Okay, super great. And so now, so you've created this, obviously useful. People want to have a blog on Vercel. This will save them a lot of time and effort. The So you decided to put it on Product Hunt. Can you tell us all about Product Hunt? What does that do for you, and what was the process?
yeah. So Product Hunt, I've seen it for ages. Hadn't used
Hmm.
it myself because I just didn't really know if it would be worth my time.
Yeah, same.
And I don't know if I would use it again for this specific purpose. I think the ones that perform the best on Product Hunt is actually where you already have a little bit of traction. You already
Okay.
have some users, and then
Hmm.
those users get involved and come and upvote you here in the software.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh, so okay. So you have a love group
it's
to promote you.
yeah, it's meant to be organic. Um, my goal of using it might have been an incorrect approach, to be honest with you, but my personal goal was I want this to kind of be my billboard. If I can get in
Yeah.
front of some people and help them find out about it, and then they try it, then it might propel
Mhm.
it forward, and it could
Well, and
cover
there's
the
some great success stories of completely obscure software that then went on Product Hunt and overnight had a
going
huge user
viral.
base. Yeah.
Yes. I also wonder a lot of the time what type of people are in here. I don't really know. Are these developers that are here? And so that was another
Yeah.
thing I wanted to kind of tinker with because blogs for Vercel might get popular if it's developers, but
Yeah.
maybe not so much if it's not a developer because it wasn't really intended for it's
So what
built
do you
for
think? I'm just going to ask AI, but what do you think the mix of users on Product Hunt is?
my guess is it would be people who are interested in startups, which is not
Yeah.
necessarily the developers. I don't think many developers are interested in startups, but I don't know
Yeah.
what that would be categorized as, to be honest.
Yeah, for what it's worth, AI is saying tech creators and makers, of course, early adopters and tech enthusiasts. Like I've used sites
Yeah.
like this before to just kind of try something new out, whether I plan to be a long-term user or not. And then it says investors. I don't know about that, but about let's see, mostly young, mostly 25 to 34. And it's also a global audience. So that might change the calculus too. Like your product could be used anywhere in the world, right? So it's a good candidate in that regard,
Right.
but not everything would be that. Okay. So what were your results like? Did you gain some users from it?
We might have two people. I mean,
Okay.
we can
And
go take a
is
look.
it a single day? Do you just go up for one day?
You go up for one day and you get a rating or a ranking, and then you go up for a whole month ultimately in the end. We'll have
Okay.
to blur out the emails that are being shown here because they're other people's emails.
Oh, okay.
But nobody has subscribed to date from anything that we've done up to this point, which would
Hmm.
be cool if they did, because if I get I think 3 or 4 subscribers, it kind of pays for the whole entire
Oh, yeah.
system I'm setting up. But
Okay.
the other thing I did that I think might be even better, to be honest, when you're first starting out like this, I think Reddit.
Well,
I
and let
was
me ask on Product Hunt, you didn't have to pay to be on it though, right? You just go through a submission
no,
process. Yeah.
yeah, no, didn't have to pay to be on it.
But yeah,
Um,
Reddit. So you're putting it out there too, huh?
yes, this is the next thing that I did right beside Product Hunt.
Hmm.
But I didn't mention the Product Hunt because Reddit is it's a bit of a tiptoe thing. If you
Yeah.
want to post about it and you're the person that made it, you can't promote things. And so my goal was mostly to get feedback and also to see if somebody else had already solved this.
Well, can I ask you
Um,
too on Product Hunt, are there rules like what if someone just has a big mailing list? Can they be promoting their products, sending all the people there to like their products? Would that work? Or do they have some way of preventing that?
hmm. What I know about Product Hunt is it has to be organic.
Hmm.
So as a quick example, let me go to my products here. Blogs for Vercel.
Hmm.
It got all the way up to 72, and then their algorithm detected that 40 some odd of those points they were fake, right?
Okay.
Or whatever was going on, they were fake.
Somehow people have voted twice or something or
Yeah.
that sort of
And
thing.
I actually paid for someone on LinkedIn that said that they professionally help you get upvotes to
Hmm.
see what that would be like. Because my goal is just I want to be in front of people.
Right.
So
Yeah.
in the same way that I pay for marketing,
Sure.
I can drop 30, $40 on this and see what happens. I'd love to
Yeah.
see what the result of that is.
But
Drop
those are
30,
probably the ones that got taken off, huh?
very possible. Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
possible that those people that helped me get the votes, that the algorithm detected that they weren't legitimate people. And so they
Hmm.
got removed.
Interesting. Yeah. So there, anyway, so Product Hunt is fighting that battle. So
Mhm.
they have steps. Although I've got to think, if you had a major email list and you told people, hey, go search for me on Product Hunt and give me a thumbs up, maybe, I mean, obviously a minority of people would actually do that, but that could work.
It could, yeah. And with Discover No Code, we do have an email list that we're using Beehive to communicate with occasionally, the
Mhm.
newsletter.
Mhm.
Um, that's a great idea, though. I should try that next time we do one of these launches.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
the
but
next,
Reddit. So,
yeah, I think Reddit was more valuable actually, and I'll just show you why. Let me go see if I can find my post here. Um, Probably in my notifications.
and while you're looking for it, one discussion you and I have had before is that now that the no-code tools have slightly democratized software production, like theoretically anyone can learn to use a platform and create something, maybe not as complicated as the tech you're talking about right now, but many apps can be created. If there's an explosion of apps, there needs to be some way to find apps. So the question here is how do you get in front of people? And if you're in a very defined niche like you are, like the for sale thread on Reddit, seems like that would be a good place to connect with people.
Yeah, if you can find the right Reddit thread that connects with what you're doing, I
Hmm.
think I mean, this produced a lot of great feed. This is what I liked the most actually. The
Yeah.
type of feedback that was coming in here. So I tried to make a non-promotional post. I just said,
Yeah.
I'm having issues with my clients getting SEO after putting them onto Vercel because they needed blogs, but I could not find a simple solution for this. And then I just said, hey, I'm using blogs for Vercel to solve my problem because it was the
Hmm.
cheapest and simplest I could find. What are the other options that you have seen? I've seen Sanity, Hexo, Wisp, CMS, but none of them solved the issue of letting my clients log in and edit or update the blogs on their own. Most of them were headless. Love to
Okay.
learn what others are doing. So again, kind of you're not supposed to be promotional in here. So I tried to form my discussion
Just
around
reference it.
non-promotionally,
Hmm.
but and primarily to start a discussion
Hmm.
and just see if there's something I missed in the market space too.
Hmm.
And it created like I think this is great. It's great, but it has limits on blog posts is the worst part. This guy's talking like he's known the product for a year,
Yeah.
and it only existed for a day, you
Been
know?
out for a day.
Yeah.
That's great. Uh-huh.
Um, just build once and use buildfix.dev. This guy's thinking clone it over and over again.
Okay.
And then I'm like, well, I'm limited to 20 Firebases because that's what they put on a user limit per user. And then
Okay.
he's like, well, why don't you just multi-tenant with a single database and organization ID for each customer? I'm like, that's exactly why I ended up making blogs for Vercel in the first place. Now
Yeah.
it is
To do
just one
that.
database. Yeah. And then lots of different people. So he hit the
That's
nail on
cool.
the head in terms of what I should do.
Hmm.
Hence I went and built what I built.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Um, but yeah, this was very valuable because it provided this type of feedback to me of what was good, what was bad. And then also people jumped in and started saying what they were using. And on I think it was the
Yeah.
next JS one, Payload CMS, this became the focus of a lot of conversation. Um, and people are sucked into this because it's open source. And when
Okay.
things are open source right now, there's a
Yeah.
lot of documentation online about it. And when there's
Hmm.
a lot of documentation online about it, AI just seems to know
Gonna
about
work
it,
with.
you know? So I
Yeah.
think there's some correlation there too with figuring out how you're going to bring something to market. It may be that maybe it's more of a long-term game, but open sourcing the product so that anybody can copy it whenever they want to and make improvements upon it. And
Hmm.
then as there's more documentation online about it or more chatter about it or chit chat about it, it changes the fundamentals of the visibility. The
Yeah.
visibility
I'm
changes
asking.
quickly.
Yeah. I'm asking ChatGPT. I said I want to host a blog on Vercel. What software will help me do that? So I'm gonna see what it comes up with. And this is something you and I have talked about too. Is that being the software that's suggested on ChatGPT is very advantageous for someone.
For
So
sure.
it's giving me some approaches of combining different services. It didn't mention the one you were just talking about, though.
Payload CMS, it didn't mention it to me either, but the blog and Reddit blew up with it. It's like the
Okay.
top three people brought it up while I was chatting with them in here.
I just asked, what about Payload CMS? We'll see what it says. But okay, but so you learned a lot. You got exposure. I'm sure some people tried it out. The
Yep.
do you have, and I'm not asking for the numbers, but is it easy for you to see data on how many people, like, did you post on Reddit and then 24 hours
Yeah,
later you can see? Yeah.
we had four people try out the software
Okay.
over the last 5 days, 4 days.
Okay.
So
That's cool.
not the most effective launch ever. I think if I just went and talked to my
Yeah.
friends, I could have potentially had more people trying it out.
For
So
sure. But it's an experiment. And I was excited when you
yeah,
posted on LinkedIn that you were going to try out Product Hunt because I've never tried it and I've thought about it. And next time, like if you did a product, very similar product next week, you'd have multiples of as many people because you've learned from it. But just interesting to try it out.
yeah. I think the other complexity of Product Hunt is if you're launching something that doesn't have an easy way to try it out,
Mhm.
that makes it hard to let users there's some friction
Yeah.
because a lot of things that are being built right now often will require a custom integration where the sale is made over the phone, a deal
Hmm.
is signed, and then you go and you implement that software with that company.
Hmm.
And so Product Hunt really narrows it down. It has to be some type of thing that can be openly
Yeah, I love
engaged
that.
with by the masses. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're kind of funneled into a certain approach. So
Hmm.
we have another software that we'll be launching this week or next. I think we'll end up launching it next week, probably Tuesday. But
Hmm.
it's a software that will not really work in Product Hunt because we do have to have sales with per
Okay.
someone directly.
Hmm.
Um, and that one's going to be very interesting. But another Before I go to that though, or even bring it up,
Hmm.
I want to illustrate something very interesting.
Hmm.
It took me 6 hours to completely build blogs for Vercel top to bottom.
Wow.
One 4 hour programming session and then one 2 hour cleanup session.
Hmm.
So I spent 4 hours building it, and then I spent 2 hours just going through the bugs and sorting out what's working, what's not, what's
Hmm.
buggy, what's not
And do you
quite
have
right.
monetization built into it? How does that work?
Um, you mean like when I build the apps themselves?
Well, like if someone went to Product Hunt and they tried the blogs for Vercel, is it going to be, will it give them a free trial and then they pay, or is it just a free tool right now?
It's a free tool until you go past 3 blog posts.
Okay. So monetization is built in.
Yep. So
Okay.
they can start here, and then after that they can go to Pro if they like what they're seeing. I wanted to make sure that they could use the API as much as possible because that was really the intent is to like, hey, this is
Yeah.
supposed to be you put stuff in here, but then you post it on your website, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so we got the monetization in, we put in an annual where they can save 16% and get it at $10 a year.
Yeah.
We did a little demo where they could see an example blog. So this is the blog that I posted with my we
Hmm.
were just looking at it. Uh,
Yep.
and then if you go and make a key, so let's go. It's really quick here. We can take an API key. I'll delete this one after we're done. So we can
Okay.
grab this, and then I can go and I can try out I can test my API key. So I can see what this is going to look like.
Hmm.
Boom. So the API went out, grabbed all these blog posts, shows them to me. And then if I go to clone on GitHub, I made this so that you can clone it so that if you just wanted to get pretty much exactly what you're seeing here, you
Hmm.
could strip out this top section and just have the search bar and the blogs showing up and then be able to open the blogs and read through them.
Oh, that's cool.
So
Excellent.
now that this was part of like how do we help people really jump in? You know, if they got a Vercel
Hmm.
already set up, okay, cool, let's give them a way to clone the app, clone a miniature blog that's already working, and then
Hmm.
allow them to just immediately put that into their website, essentially. Embed this. It's not even embedded. They literally, it's part of their own app, you know? They use the API
Yeah.
to go talk to it.
And when you spent the 6 hours making it, at that point, were you solving your own problem? It was because you wanted to do this?
Yeah, we have 3 or 4 clients that all wanted to have blogs, and I could
Yeah.
not get the amount of effort it would have taken, and I only have 20 Firebase accounts that I can leverage,
Yeah.
which is a frighteningly small amount when you start to make AI projects.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because you can make
Why are you limited that way? So Firebase is a database, right? Why does it
I
limit you that way?
I don't know. That's just the limit they put in place. Let's see, they might have an explainer why. Um,
Oh, you can request an increase.
yeah,
Okay.
but it takes quite a bit of time. There's a pretty lengthy process that they want to put you through. Let's see.
Oh, it's just to control their use, it looks like, right? But it's going
Yeah.
to be expensive for them.
Projects can be free that do not require a billing account for paid profitable, which requiring a billing account. So maybe it's a matter of I need to make all of them, I need to flip the switch on all of them to make it so that they're getting paid. But
Yeah.
most of my sites are little AI projects that don't have any money going through them. So
Yeah.
even if I was on a pay-as-you-go plan, I might be
Mhm.
paying less than $1 a month to have it running, which to
Yeah.
them is not very profitable, is my assumption right now.
Right.
So that you're probably onto something right there. It might just be a profit thing where people spinning up hundreds of these for free creates an issue.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
but yeah, that's Firebase.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
Um,
So
Yeah, what
uh,
else? Any other thoughts on this?
why don't we zoom out further? So you and your brother co-founded a company in 2019, and then later you're the founder of Discover No Code, which is I think the entity that you're making these software products under now. What's kind of the mission? What does your company do? What do the personnel look like?
Yeah. So we're within the next month. and I already put this on my LinkedIn, but within the next month, we're gonna not rebrand, but we're gonna kind of relinquish the Discover No Code brand entirely.
Okay.
We're gonna pivot over to Alakazam Labs, and what we're trying to do is we're just trying to move out of this no code space and into the AI space.
Hmm.
And at first, we felt like they were kind of synonymous, and they would just meld together,
Hmm.
where building with no code products would become synonymous with building with AI products. Because when you're
Hmm.
using AI, it doesn't feel like you're coding. You're
Right.
just using natural language and it's building it for you.
Hmm.
But it didn't happen. No code is still remaining very much attached to those very no code type products. And
Hmm.
so we're like, all right, we need to, unfortunately, our brand literally says no code in it. So,
Okay. Yeah.
so we were like, all right, we'll have to come up with something new. So
Yeah. Alakazam is good.
we're gonna do another brand. It's still at the heart, it's still LZ Tech. So everything is still LZ Tech
And
as
that's the
the,
2019 entity. Yeah.
yep. So everything is still DBA'd under LZ Tech, but this is kind of the core of everything. And then LZ Tech, we just put all of our contracts for long-term contracts are pretty much all through LZ Tech. So it's turned
Okay.
into basically a hosting company at this point where we just host software for people. Is
Okay.
what it's turned into.
Cool.
Um,
Is that bread and butter business? Is that most of revenue or is it one-off projects?
um, the re the hosting that we charge, this keeps us afloat, I guess you could say. But the revenue that what really drives the revenue is projects that we build either through Discover, people finding us through Discover No Code and then building the products for them with
Hmm.
Discover No Code or through Alakazam.
And
So
remind
far.
me, Russ, back in college, did you study computer science or how did you get to where you could build a business like this?
I was in IT.
Okay.
I was in the IT program. So I know a lot about servers. I know a lot about, I bought a server rack from someone on Facebook Marketplace for fun in
Yeah.
college. And
Awesome.
I couldn't even run it because it was so loud in
Oh, really?
our little dorm room that
Yeah.
I could really only turn it on when my roommate was at school so I
Yeah.
could play with it and learn how to use it.
Uh-huh.
But eventually I just had to turn around and sell it because I couldn't use the thing at all.
That's
It's
fine.
so darn loud.
Yeah.
But I had a fascination with IT stuff and soft and hosting servers and stuff, and it led
Mhm.
me down this path. Um, Ultimately, that's where my knowledge comes from in terms of knowing how to do most of what I'm doing right now.
Mhm.
The running the business side has all been pretty experimental. Um, I Like I said at the beginning of this, I we didn't really build a Netflix type of company.
Mhm.
In hindsight, if I was really for profit, maybe that would have been different.
Mhm.
But I wouldn't take anything back. Everything that I've learned at this point and all of the experiences I've had with my colleagues have been so much fun and such exciting times that we've
And,
had.
and meaning that like Netflix, they hired optimized for business success. That's what they were all about. Where you
Yeah.
guys seems like really have a lot of fun working together. It's a bunch of people who love making things.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Cool.
So that's kind of the foundation of it. Yeah,
Okay.
any other questions about this? Those are the main three
No,
that we
that's
have.
great. Thanks for the tour. And those levels of like technical tips and insights are just really helpful. So a lot of people watching this will be largely entrepreneurs, but student entrepreneurs too. So if someone's in college now and they're thinking, I want to do a software startup, where would you start? What should they do?
Honestly, I think just get in front of people. And I can tell the story of what we're doing for this next startup that we're doing this week after the experience last week that I
Hmm.
think will help paint that picture of what I think we need to do to try and get traction on stuff like this.
Cool.
And also to seek bigger deals too. If you're trying to, if you already have a family, you
Mhm.
don't get to, live out of your parents' basement or in your
Right.
garage or whatever very easily. So
Mhm.
if you're in college, I think there are some opportunities where if you're not chasing really big deals out the door, and you're just getting started, you can build something that you think is going to be useful for AI and figure out how to get AI to know that it exists. That is number one what I would go do because you're just getting out into the world. You've got 1 to 3 years of time before the
Hmm.
SaaS world it starts to collapse completely. And at
Hmm.
that point, your skill level, you might as well have just focused and honed in on how do I create a product that AI is going to recommend to people who are vibe coding? How do I do that? How do I make it so that this product is so fundamental to what people need when they're vibe coding that AI will find it and start suggesting it and people will talk about it? What can I build
So
to do that?
currently that would be something like Vercel or obviously big players like AWS, people like that.
Yeah,
Where do you see?
so
Yeah.
Supabase, Firebase, Vercel, Netlify, these four are pretty fundamental to hosting websites that
Hmm.
people will be building with AI. They're like the infrastructure, they're kind of the bedrock of all these web platforms that people are building.
Yeah.
So if you can build something fundamental to some of those platforms or others that you find that you see that the AI is suggesting that you use,
Uh-huh.
then I think you can start to find niches that will certainly become provider, it could provide for your family in your life for
Mm.
sure.
Yeah, we
Um,
use Supabase for everything.
yeah, no, yeah, I see exactly. So imagine building something that works incredibly well that's just missing in Supabase.
Hmm.
And it gets popular among people, and then suddenly AI is suggesting it. And now you'll have enough money, recurring revenue, just working on that one project for the next 10 to 20 years to
Hmm.
feed your family and or have fun if you're in college and just have some fun, right? So,
Yeah. Sometimes
um,
people, if they want to do a tech startup in college, they'll wonder, what should I study? What do you think is best?
oh, that's hard.
Yeah.
Um, Here's my two thoughts on that. One, without sales, you don't have a tech company.
Yeah.
You can't, you really can't do much these days unless you can sell the product you're building. So I think building the product, while it's very important, if you can't get in front of somebody and sell somebody on what you're trying to build, I
Hmm.
think that's a bigger problem because you could build the most amazing thing ever, but if you can't convince the people who were meant to use the product to even use it themselves,
Hmm.
then you're not going to do super great.
Hmm.
That was probably my biggest problem my whole time building software. I always have wanted to build a SaaS, and I've never been able to build a SaaS that just sold like crazy, you know?
Hmm.
And I think it's purely because I didn't start with the sales. I didn't just go talk to people and see if this is something that they would actually want to try and use and sell them on it and
Yeah.
get good at selling them on this idea or concept and then having a demo that's good enough to get them excited about it to see if they actually would be in.
Hmm.
So really what you need is you need a demo and you need to find a problem that someone has and then solving that problem.
Hmm.
And then find out if the problem that you solved is wide enough that it would be applicable to multiple people within the industry, not just that one person, but other people as well.
Okay. But and you've done some good marketing. Like you do really well on LinkedIn. What have you learned about marketing since starting your business that you think is helpful?
The two things that have driven the most revenue for me is Discord communities
Hmm.
and LinkedIn. Those are probably the two biggest.
Hmm.
Discord communities, I would go in and I would support people in whatever they were doing.
Hmm.
So if they get stuck and they're asking a question in the chat, I would go answer the questions. And then people would see within that space that I was talented enough to help them solve problems.
Hmm.
And then when they got someone talking to them that was interested in using the same software, but they didn't have enough time, or maybe they were employed full time,
Hmm.
they would often they would redirect them to me because I was helping them solve problems, and so they knew I was a capable resource. And they
Hmm.
knew I wasn't W-2'd. They knew I was
Doing projects.
doing projects out in the space looking for people to work with. Yeah. So that was the number one. Number two has been LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Just the connections and the network that's built there created the same type of flow. But it wasn't nearly as fast or as lucrative as just being in the trenches with the community members and helping them solve problems. To be honest, that was far more lucrative. Long. it took about 6 months to get notoriety within the
Mm-hmm.
communities that I was supporting.
So bad.
But once those 6 months kind of zipped by,
Mm-hmm.
it went pretty well. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, so on the other side, if you're not trying, if you're getting into this for the first time, going back to that first question,
Mm-hmm.
if you're in college and you've got tons of time to burn, man, I would solve the problem, right? Figure out how to get AI to start using your stuff, and then think of something that AI would want to use.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the other way, I think, is just old-fashioned marketing. I think get out to trade shows, get in front of people. If you're in your office all day and you're not outside talking to people about this, you're never going to know if what you're building is actually going to be helpful to people. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Getting onto Reddit, I think that's a method as well.
Mm-hmm.
But getting in front of people is going to be really important. So this next startup that we're doing called Claim Chaser, this one took us about 23 hours to finish, just shy of a day.
Okay.
And we put this one together after working with 3 or 4 dental companies and realizing that they almost always have anywhere between $10,000 to $30,000 of money in claims that's stuck with healthcare companies.
Wow.
And so we built an AI chatbot, or not an AI chatbot, sorry, we built an AI voice system that calls the health insurance companies and gets the reasons why the health insurance company is not paying out that person's claim.
Mm-hmm.
Tells you the reasons, and then you can go fulfill the reasons. And we're working on the second phase of that right now to actually go and fulfill that side of it as well.
Yeah.
But we built this, we got the idea last week. We called a few people and identified that there's interest. We found an
Mm-hmm.
investor within a week. And then we have now reinvested that money into two dental trade shows that are coming up over the next 2 weeks, one in Denver and one in Salt Lake.
Mm-hmm.
And we went and got all of our banners made, and we have new swag being made right now so that we can go in with nice looking polos that are embroidered with the logos on them.
That's awesome. Like speed is so important. The hardest part of that to me sounds like finding an investor in 1 week. In 1 week, how did you go about that?
We called maybe 10 to 20 different dental providers to
Mm-hmm.
just see if they were having, we wanted to target an industry that was more private practice rather than just ginormous healthcare, because healthcare is hard to get into. So we
Mm-hmm.
wanted to choose an industry that was a little more private practicey, where we
Mm-hmm.
could just we could basically get in front of the owner potentially by just going to
Yeah.
the store, or going to the dental office.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that a huge number of dental practices are in Utah, like in
Oh yeah,
a weirdly high number of dental practices are here.
that's
So
true.
we went knocking doors and calling people's numbers, and eventually we found 2 people that just opened right up to us. One of them turned out to be a network connection that we met ages ago. Um, and he's the one that kind of gave us the idea, and he paid for some of the research and development. So the very
Mm-hmm.
first part of this idea was that someone had a problem. They reached out to us and talked to us and knew that we had done things with AI. And then
Mm-hmm.
we decided that we would do something with him from a business perspective. It's like, hey, let's go see if other people have the same problem as you, or if they've
Yeah.
solved it in other ways. Because if they've solved it in other ways, we don't want you to spend XYZ amount of money on this. That would be bad business. So
Mm-hmm.
we went and looked. We didn't find anything right away, at least. We still have yet to find something obvious. So yeah, now it's just speed, right? How fast can we build the product? How fast can we build the demo? How fast can we build the front end? Can we build the web page? How fast can we put together the marketing materials so that we can get out in front of people to ask more, to try and land more deals?
Mm-hmm.
But we already have one person up front who wanted to build this. And then we have 2 other dental companies that are have expressed a lot of interest and told us that they would put money towards it.
That's
So
awesome.
I think that right there this has been so far actually the most successful response that I've ever had from people. to the
Hmm.
point where within the first 2 weeks we actually already made money um, on it.
Profitable within 2 weeks,
Yeah, not maybe not profitable because we spent a lot on
but
these on
positive
the
revenue, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes. More revenue than we're making on the other projects that we've worked on for years, some of them.
Wow.
So, but spending I didn't know how expensive trade shows were
Yeah, they're
until
pretty expensive, right?
it makes you realize why people sell things at the rates they sell them at. If you're
Yeah,
gonna go and show up at a marketing show, you know that people spent a lot of money to be there. You're in a different zip code, you know?
absolutely. Yep. Yep.
So,
Well, so
but
that's awesome. I love that story. And I know we're about out of time, but the um let's see, question lost. Hang on just a second. What was I thinking of?
you're good.
Um,
My daughter just woke up and I think
okay. Yeah,
my
yeah,
wife
take a
might
break.
be on a run. Give me just 1 second.
Yeah,
I'll be
yeah,
right back.
perfect. Nice.
Just checking if my wife's back or not. She might be
Oh,
out.
I know what I want to ask you. Okay.
My wife's back, so we're good.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so I had a question just today from someone in a corporation, genuine question we were asking about vibe coding. And he said, listen, when you're creating vibe coded technologies, if you can make it so easily with these tools, what's stopping someone else from making it? Why would they buy it from you? I know my answer to that, but what do you tell people?
Yeah, I think that there's still not a lot of awareness in the space yet.
Hmm.
Um,
That's true.
I just spoke to one of my long-term uh, clients for we've been partners for almost 4 years, and he just used AI for the first time yesterday.
Wow. Yeah, a
Like,
few years behind on that one.
yeah, and they're this huge company, multi-million-dollar company. They're just plugging and chugging. They do big,
Mhm.
big installations for audiovisual systems within schools and colleges and other places and newsrooms. And they've never their infrastructure and their company is just already proven. So they didn't
Yeah,
really have a need for it. And now they're wondering, well, how can we use it to just accelerate? How can we use it
right.
to make life better?
Hmm.
And so tomorrow I have a call scheduled with him to just explore that and
Hmm.
see and I know how his company runs, so I already know a couple places where we could try to save them a lot of time and
Hmm.
effort, or accelerate rather than saving time. Just just keep the
Right.
same team, but now you can work at 100
Zoom
miles
out.
an hour.
Yeah.
Um, uh, but yeah, I think it's an awareness thing. There's not a lot of people that realize this yet. I don't know how it's going to impact overall. Like once everybody realizes that software is completely democratized,
Hmm.
what what are we all going to do? I
Well,
don't
so
know. Um,
here's my other theory. Yeah, awareness right now definitely is part of it. But even if the example I was using in this other conversation was, look, I can make French fries at home, but I don't. You know,
yes,
like you
you
can
still go out and buy them.
even if you're aware, even if you knew, well, I could push this button and that and that and that, and I'd have the stuff. It's like, yeah, but someone else already done it, and it's $1 a month. I'm doing that.
It's the service. You're selling a service and you're selling a commitment to a good service.
Yeah, yeah,
So
convenience and quality. Yeah,
convenience and quality. And they don't have to worry about whether it's working or not because that's your job,
yeah,
right? It's just like if I were to outsource something, I
yeah.
outsource it because it's not something that I wanted to have to deal with internally. It's not part of
That's a
my
great point.
business model. So
Yeah,
if
it's
it's
like a
not,
service contract or insurance. Like they're going to fix the issues. I don't have to.
yep. And so what I think will happen is you'll still get agencies, but you'll hire someone from the agency that you know is well trained. Because
Hmm.
if you tried to hire someone yourself, you don't know what to look for. You're not
That's
in the
right.
industry anyways. So I still think that even after software becomes completely democratized,
Hmm.
rather than you um, being hired by a single company to build out their software infrastructure,
Hmm.
maybe the companies that get built up like Alakazam, for example, maybe we have 4 people internally, and then those 4 people are servicing 6 different companies each. And each of
Hmm.
those companies are paying a monthly subscription, and they don't buy any software.
Yeah.
We build all the software for them. They just pay a monthly subscription to us. And then we get in the weeds. We understand how their business works. We understand the fundamentals of what they need. And so we build the tools that they actually need with no fluff and no extra features that are wasting their time.
Oof.
Um,
That's really helpful. That's a vision of the near future that actually makes sense to me. Like,
yes, I think that's kind of where things are going, and we're trying to get ourselves in a position to be ready for that when it hits.
okay,
um,
cool.
by
Cool.
training internally. But
Well,
yeah.
awesome. In the meantime, if people want to find you, they should be able to find you, Rosson Long, on LinkedIn, and maybe on Discord they can find you also. But what else should they do?
If they want to reach out,
Yeah.
yeah, hit me up on just shoot me a message on LinkedIn or add me. I'm in the Valley. I'm in Kaysville. So if people want to snag a lunch in Salt Lake and they're down in Provo, I'm happy to drive down to Salt Lake and get a lunch and chat one-on-one face to time rather than over Zoom calls and stuff like this. I enjoy I do enjoy the one-on-ones. I'll even pay for the meal.
Yeah, there you go. And we have, and to be clear, we have actually met in person too.
We have, yeah,
So,
it's
but it's
it's
nice to
fun.
talk
No,
with you. Yeah,
I
yeah,
that was a highlight of my day when I got to come down and actually get to see you in person that day. So
that was
yeah,
cool. Super fun.
it
So
was. It was.
great. Well, thanks, Ruslan. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time, and we'll keep in touch on all these issues.
Yep. We'll talk to you soon, Dave. Have a great day.
Thanks,
Thanks
you
for your
too.
talk too.